coming up on Mountain News this morning, for the first time in the Commonwealth, a newborn baby is surrendered in one of the safe haven boxes across the state. And Kentucky won't be seeing any of the millions of dollars that were wagered on the Super Bowl, as sports gambling is still up in the air in Frankfort.
Dedicated to Eastern and Southern Kentucky, this is WYMT Mountain News This Morning.
Good morning to you. 5:35 here on your Monday. I'm Dakota Makris. Good morning to you. Let's take it over to Brandon for a look at our, my birthday forecast this morning. Brandon, don't you have something that you'd like to wish me?
I was waiting on, we might have a little something for you a little bit later on the newscast. We'll have to see how it goes.
Oh, my goodness. Are we perhaps, presents, cake, all that?
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Well, I'm here. I have to stay tuned.
Stay tuned. All right, let's talk about the current forecast first. And just like Dakota's mentality, it's foggy out there this morning as you head out the door. Could be some freezing fog in some spots because there's a bit of chilly air out there across the region this morning. So do be careful of that. Pikeville on US 119, US 23 near Pikeville Commons there. 28 degrees, not much traffic out there. But again, just give yourself plenty of time to get back and forth this morning. Not only because of the fog, but because, again, some of that could be frozen fog, and that's a little bit icy. So temperatures, the only spots above freezing right now, Jackson at 32, Monticello at 32, and Moorhead at 36. Everybody else is below freezing right now across our region. Up to about 57 later today. The fog gives way to some sunshine. It's going to be a fairly nice day. Enjoy it because we got a couple more of those on the way before we see some big changes coming later this week. Dakota?
All right, Brandon, thank you. Well, the Martin County Sheriff says his office arrested a man who fled from police Sunday and took a small child with him. Sheriff John Kirk says a call came in around 4:30 p.m. yesterday for a fight at White's Branch involving a man and a 17-year-old. Deputies said the suspect, Justin Fletcher, took off from a home into the hills, taking a 4-year-old along with him. The child was not wearing shoes and only had a short-sleeved T-shirt. A drone was deployed and Kentucky State Police was called out to help with the search. Deputies were able to take Fletcher into custody, where he faces multiple charges. The child was checked out by EMS and returned to their home. Well, the first time ever in the Commonwealth, a safe haven baby box was used. A newborn was surrendered at the Bowling Green Fire Department, and the baby is safe and healthy. Brandon Spencer listened in as the department talked about why these boxes matter so much.
There are 16 safe haven baby boxes in Kentucky, but the one in Bowling Green hasn't even been open for 3 months. And within the last 7 days, Safe Haven Baby Box co-founder Monica Kelsey says the box got a blessing.
This baby is healthy. This baby is beautiful. This baby is perfect, and the Department of Child Services is now looking for a forever home for this family.
After the baby was placed in the climate-controlled box, it was safely removed within a minute and a half. Kelsey says it is now in good hands.
This child that was surrendered here was not abandoned. This child was legally, safely, anonymously, and lovingly placed inside of this safe haven baby box. And that speaks volumes about the parent.
A few years ago, Kelsey says the Bowling Green Fire Department had a baby dropped off at the door of a safe haven location and not a baby box. The new method of transferring hands proving to be a much safer option.
This box worked exactly as it was designed to. The fire department did exactly what they were trained to do, and it worked flawlessly.
Next, the child awaits a new and safe home, something that couldn't have happened without the decision made by the parents of this baby.
Thank you for keeping your child safe. Thank you for bringing your child to a location where you knew this child was going to be taken care of. And thank you for doing what you felt you could for the life of this child.
Officials in Lexington say it's common for fire departments to come across unhoused people struggling in the cold during the winter months. Major John Ott of the Lexington Fire Department said there was a victim of a fire on Saturday morning who unfortunately died. He believed it was a homeless person trying to stay warm. He says the case is still under investigation, but it is a common problem in the winter months. He says the fire department can help.
If you don't need to be at a hospital, we can get you to the place you need to be. If you're cold and you're not hurt, then we can certainly work as hard as we can to get you somewhere you should be, where you can get the best care related to what's going on with you that day.
For people in Lexington, that could be the Hope Center. It serves around 230 people during the winter, and when the weather is more temperate, it's closer to 150. As concerns grow about opioids on college campuses, a study group at the University of Kentucky is spreading awareness and resources to help prevent opioid overdoses in the Commonwealth. The Healing Communities Study team at the University of Kentucky implemented naloxone kits around campus. These free Narcan kits are nasal spray, and they can reverse the effects of an opioid overdose.
I mean, the reality is with the various substances out there that people may engage with, even if you think you know what you're taking, strengths can change. Fentanyl is a whole different ballgame that can really lead to these unintentional overdose episodes.
Good Samaritan laws in Kentucky protect anyone who administers Narcan in good faith from being held liable. Students are encouraged to take advantage of them. The American Gaming Association says betting on Super Bowl 57 may total $16 billion. And Kentucky won't see any of that money since sports betting is illegal in the Commonwealth. Kentucky's neighbors, Tennessee, Virginia, West Virginia, Ohio, Indiana, and North Carolina have already cashed in on sports betting. It's estimated that Kentucky loses $20 million each year without it. People opposed to sports betting believe more Kentuckians will develop gambling addictions, but lawmakers disagree. Representative Al Gentry says a portion of tax revenue from sports betting would go to fund gambling treatment programs.
At least 2.5 million people in Kentucky gambled in 2022. So if you take 2% of that number, you're talking about 50,000 Kentuckians that have some sort of addiction problem with gambling, and there is no public funding going toward that right now, and we have to fix that.
The House has introduced a bill that would expand gambling in Kentucky, but Representative Gentry says he doesn't think it will get the votes needed to pass both chambers. He says a similar bill that could be introduced soon would have a better chance. Well, just ahead this morning, famous hip-hop artist Drake becomes part of a murder trial of a fellow rapper. Stay with us. More news is on the way.
And temperatures are heading back up after a chilly weekend, but could some storm chances later this week put a damper on that warm-up? I'll have the answer in about 3 minutes.